Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I apologize for how long it's been since I posted any videos. I have been dealing with a little bit of money issues as far as my car goes, but I'm hoping to here real soon I can get back to doing what I love doing, and that is presenting you guys with some nice videos. But to start things back up, I'm going to show you guys my new deck profile, Floowandereeze. I took this to Locust recently. I didn't win with it, but it was still a lot of fun, and I made people work really hard to build their boards. Without further ado, let's get straight on to the build. We start off with 3 Floowandereeze and Rabinas. This has the effect that when this card is normal summoned, you can add to your hand a level 4 lower winged beast monster. And then immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon a winged beast monster from your hand. Now when this card leaves the field, it's banished instead, but when you normal summon a winged beast monster, while this card is banished, you can add it back to your hand. Then, 3 Floowandereeze and Englands. This card has the effect that when this card is normal summon, you can add to your hand a level 7 or higher winged beast monster from your deck. Then immediately after the effect resolves, you can add this. You can normal summon a winged beast monster, and then when this card leaves the field, it's banished instead. And when this card is in your banish pile while you normal summon a winged beast monster, quick effect, you can add this card back to your hand. 1 Floowandereeze and Talkin. This one has the effect that when it's normal summoned, you can add from your banish area one of your Floowandereeze cards. And then immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon a winged beast monster. When this card leaves the field, it is banished instead, and if you normal summon a winged beast monster while this card is banished, you can add it to your hand. And then 1 Floowandereeze and Stree. This one has the effect that you can target any card in either person's graveyard and banish it when this card is normal summoned. Then immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon a winged beast monster. When this card leaves the field, it is banished instead. But if you normal summon a winged beast monster while that card's in your banish zone, you can quick effect, return it to your hand. All the Floowandereeze cards have the quick effect to be added back to your hand from the banish zone, which is a very good chain block for a lot of people who want to try to hit you with Ash Blossom. Next up, we have 2 Floowandereeze and Englands. This card has the effect that normal special summon monsters you put in control in attack position cannot activate their effects. When this card is normal summon, you can add a Floowandereeze spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after the effect resolves, you can normal summon a winged beast monster. When this card battles with an opponent's monster, you can send 1 winged beast card from your hand to your banish zone. No, 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and then make the opponent's monsters half the attack. So he is a walk-in skill drain, and he can also pretty much shrink your opponent's monster's attack in half. Next, we have 1 Apex Valley Avian, Apex Avian. This one has the effect that when your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, you can add 1 Apex card from your field to your hand, negate the activation of that card, and then destroy it. Which is good because then you can also use it again if you can get out a normal summon with your winged beast monsters. Next up is 1 Ryza the Mega Monarch. This one has the effect that when this card is normal summoned, you can send 2 cards from either side of the field or graveyards back to the top of the deck. And if you use a winged beast monster as material for the tribute summon, then you can also send another card from the field to the owner's hand. So this is actually a very good effect when you are running the dimension shifters, because then you can add dimension shifter from your graveyard back to the top of your deck. It can create an endless loop of making your opponent banish all of their cards. Now on for the monster hand traps. Of course, as I was just mentioning, dimension shifter has the effect, a quick effect. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Until the end of the next turn, all cards that go to graveyard are banished instead, which works really well for a deck that consistently has your monsters banish themselves when they leave the field. So they'll never hit the graveyard, but you can also make sure your opponent can't hit their graveyard either. And a lot of people run this card in their side decks, but I often run it in the main deck, which is the Ash Blossoms. I keep the DD Crows in my side deck. In case if I ever need to swap out hand traps, it would definitely have to be Ash Blossom instead of DD Crow. Because in DD Crow has the effect that when your opponent activates a quick effect, you can send this card to the graveyard and then banish 1 card in your opponent's graveyard. Now onto the spells. I run 3 of the field spells, Floowandereeze and Magnificent Map. when your opponent normal summons a monster, immediately after that effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster from your hand. Let's see, this also has the effect that during the main phase, you can reveal one level 1 Floowandereeze monster in your hand, and then banish one card and with a different name from your deck. Then immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon that winged beast monster in your hand, which will start a nice little chain loop, so that way your opponent can't ash you. So it's good to have 3, especially when it revolves around your opponent normal summoning. And there are still decks out there that require normal summons for effects to go off. Then we run 3 quick plays of the Floowandereeze and the Advent of Adventure. This one is you can banish a Winged Beast monster from your hand to add either the field spell or another Floowandereeze monster from your deck to your hand. And then you gain 500 life points. So this is also good against time duels when no one's life points have been touched and the time was about to hit. Drop that at the end of your turn, so that way you can gain an advantage of 500 life points and be declared the winner of that match. Now, I opted to run this instead of a handful of the drawing cards. I was going to run 2 Triple Texas Talents, but I feel like 2-dimensional fissures would be more sufficient for a deck to keep your opponent from still not being able to have their monsters in the graveyard. Because D-Shifter doesn't come as much as I want to, but I still wind up opening at least with either Fissure or Shifter. Now, as for the drawing cards, I do run 2 Pod Prosperities, banish 3 to 6 cards from your extra deck face down, draw that many amount of cards, add 1 from that pile to your hand. All the other cards go on the bottom of the deck, and until the next phase, you cannot draw cards by your card effects, and all attack that you send to your opponent is halved. So this is definitely a going first turn card, so that we don't have to worry about the other effect. And then I run 2 Pots of Duality, because a deck like this that requires no special summoning at all, Pot of Duality is definitely the best card. You can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and shuffle the rest back into your deck. But until the end of the turn, until the next turn, you cannot special summon monsters. Then I run Floowandereeze and Unexplored Winds. During the main phase, you can reveal up to 2 Winged Beast monsters in your hand, place them on the bottom of the deck, and then draw that many cards. But this also has the amazing effect that while this card's on the field, you can actually use one of your opponent's monsters for tribute, and that's not a once per turn effect either. So, say if you somehow manage to get Empen on the field, tribute one of your opponent's monsters, and still have enough monsters plus Apex or Ryza in hand to immediately after effect resolves of Empen, normal summon another monster, and then swipe another card from your opponent's side of the field. I was going to opt to run 2, but I feel like 40 cards was enough, and I have already cut down my Pot of Duality and my Pot of Prosperities, among other cards, just to make this all work. For the final spell card of the deck, of course, 1 Terraforming, because you definitely want to have map on the field. So you can either draw into this. Hopefully, if you don't have this, you have the map, or you have Advent of Adventure, and that doesn't get stopped. But yeah, you definitely want to have map, so that way your opponent doesn't want to normal summon monsters, especially if that's all they can do. Because then all you're going to do is endless loop on their turn, make it your turn again, in a sense. On to those traps. 1 Floowandereeze and Dream in Town. This is basically so if your opponent doesn't normal summon on their turn, you can force a normal summon for yourself, so that way you can still get the chain going on. This one has the effect that during the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 level 4 or lower Winged Beast monster, and if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher Winged Beast monster while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card and then book immunity the entire opponent's side of the field. So that's a very powerful trap, and if you use Floowandereeze and Talkin', you can get this back from the bench then. Now on to one of my favorite traps that I never thought of using in any deck at all, and I even had the Blackwing deck and never thought about this, but I run 2 Harpy's Featherstorms. This one has the effect of while you control a winged beast monster, until the end of the turn, your opponent cannot activate monster effects at all, which means no hand traps, no graveyard effects, no field effects. Also, if the card is destroyed while it's on the field, you can add Harpy's Feather Duster to your hand. I don't run it in the main deck because it's usually a side deck card anyways. Now on to the other hand traps. Meaning traps is evenly matched. I run 2 evenly matched because sometimes you just need to wipe your opponent's board clean to get rid of any kind of monster negates or any kind of like chain loops that can keep them from losing monsters. So this comes in handy. And then for the final cards of the deck, of course, 3 Imperns. It has the effect that you can target 1 monster on the field, negate its effects. And if you have no cards on the field, then that right there is a hand trap. Now, the extra deck, it's usually only used for discard piles, but I will still show my extra deck here. 1 Tantrum Toddler, 3 Lilac Assembled Nightingales, and 1 Lilac Prominent Thrust. Just in case if I can't get my normal effects to go off, I can always just opt to run my extra deck. Then I run 2 Haggard Lizardos, and 1 Ragnarok Mantis Monk, and then 1 Tribrigade Shurag the Ominous Omen. Now, this is actually an Ultimate Slayer target, because then once this card goes to the graveyard, I can add a Winged Beast monster from my deck up to the number of stars that I have of Winged Beast monsters in my graveyard. But that's only if I have them in the graveyard, and the only ones that can really go there is Ryza, Apex, and Empen. Now for the fusions, these are also Ultimate Slayer targets because this one has the effect to pop a card in the field when it hits the graveyard, and then it has the effect to allow you to draw a card if it hits the graveyard. Not so much for the synchros. I do have Draco Berserk of the Tenyi, 1 Egnomaster Packbit, which is a Ultimate Slayer target, and then Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Alright, and now I will also introduce you to my side deck. I run 3 DD Crows, because you can discard this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and then banish that target. Plus, it being a level 1 Winged Beast card, it can be searched with Rabina. I run 2 Nibiru's, just in case if your opponent has an endless board. And then you can go towards, before he has his turn, or on his end of his main phase, drop Nibiru, give him a token, so that way you board wipe his monsters and give him just a token. And then the extra Duality and Prosperity, in case if I feel like I need more consistency, they'll be in my side deck. And then 3 Ultimate Slayers. Has the effect that your opponent cannot activate cards in response to this card's effect activation. You can target 1 monster in your extra deck, send it to the graveyard, and then you can return to the deck. Or no, wait, actually no, is it the deck or the hand? Yep, you can return 1 Fusion Synchro, Pendulum, XC, or Link monster from the field to the deck. Meaning basically extra deck. But still, this card I never even heard of before, and I found out this is by far one of the best cards to add to this deck. And then, of course, 3 Book of Moons. I run these in case if I have to chain lock the opponent if they try to activate Effect Failure or Imperm on one of my monsters. I could Book of Moon my monster and still get the effect off through my monster being face down. 1 Dark Ruin No More, in case if I have to shut off the opponent before I do anything else to them. And of course, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. What's the effect? To destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Well, actually, for this one, I guess you could say destroys all magic and trap cards your opponent controls, but I won't tell nobody. Okay, let's see if I can get a quick hand going and see how you guys feel about this deck as well. Okay. We have ourselves a pretty good hand here. First, we're going to dump Shifter, and then we're going to activate Fall Duality. Reveal 3 cards. We have a Rabina, Harvey's Featherstorm, and England. Because I have Rabina in hand, I'm going to add Harvey's Featherstorm and shuffle the rest back into the deck. We are going to now activate Map, reveal Rabina, send England to the banish zone, and then we're going to normal summon Rabina. Rabina's effect chain 1, chain 2 M-Pen to add to hand, so that way that stops your opponent from ashing you. Rabina is going to add a level 1 monster, so we're going to grab, for now, we're going to grab Talkin. Immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon. England's going to search for a level 7 or higher Winged Beast monster, so we're going to search for M-Pen. Oopsie doodles. Immediately after that effect resolves, normal summon. These guys will go to the banish zone when they leave the field. So we're going to normal summon England, effective England, chain Rabina. Rabina's going to be added back to hand, and then England's going to add a Floowandereeze spell, a trap. We're going to grab Dream in Town in case if your opponent does a normal summon on his turn, you can still do a normal summon in case. Let's see. Now we're going to place 1 and 2, and just in case if for some reason your opponent wouldn't be able to get rid of the board, or set down evenly matched, we're going to go to the end phase here, let the opponent go, say he normal summons a monster, immediately after your normal summons, before you can even write off any effects, we're going to drop the Matt's effect. We're going to drop Floowandereeze Rabina, Rabina's effect, chain England. Rabina's going to search for something like, you can search for itself, another England, but I'm just going to grab the Floowandereeze and Stree in case if I would need to banish anything. Immediately after the effect resolves, we're going to drop England back down. England's going to search for level 7, and what I usually search for at that point, if I use Shifter, is going to be my Ryza. Immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon. We're going to normal summon our Ryza. Activate effect of Ryza to chain Rabina to add Rabina back to hand. This one I'm going to send D-Shifter and the monster the opponent controls back to the top of the deck. And because I use Winged Beast monsters, I'll send Ryza back to hand for later. Because it's on his turn, he already used up his normal summon. If he can't special summon, then M-Pen's on the field also to negate any normal special summon monsters your opponent controls. And normally they would just say, okay, pass turn. So you'll draw, on draw phase, hit Shifter again. So now all cards are still banished. We will then do another effect where we're going to drop Rabina. Rabina, chain England, add that back to hand. We'll just search for, say, another England at this point. Or if I have D-Shifter and DD Crow in my deck, I'll search for that in case if I need to send anything your opponent controls to the graveyard, if they would, of course, had anything in their graveyard. Immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon, we'll drop England. We'll add the Omni-Negate. Immediately after the effect resolves, we'll do the Apex Avian by tributing Rabina and England. And then, of course, Rabina will come back to hand because the monster's been normal summoned. And then we'll just go for 5,400. Actually, yeah, it's 5,400. During the opponent's turn, if he tries to do anything again, or if he normal summons the monster or sent back to the top of the deck, of course, Dream in Town is face down. If not, Map is there if he does. And then we'll re-loop everything. Bring out the Ryza, send a shifter back to top of the deck, send his card back to top of the deck, and then probably just keep Ryza on the board instead of sending them back to my hand, because then I can just go into my draw phase, standby, main, and then battle phase, and then just attack with all my monsters. All in all, this is a very good deck. I feel like this still holds its own against a lot of today's modern meta. And decks that don't want to be shifter, like say the Snake Eyes or Temp Eyes, or even the what do I think here? I would say the Voiceless Voice decks probably don't like being shifted either. Will it hold its own in today's modern meta or tomorrow's modern meta? Who knows? All I know is this deck is so much fun, and I thank you guys for joining me on this video. Let me know down below in the comment section what you think of this. Would you run that deck? Because if you do, I actually have an extra deck core for sale. Which, of course, if you message me on my Facebook channel, then I will be more than willing to also show you other decks I have for sale. And until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on notifications, so that way you can always be notified for all my videos. And have a great day.